Today I shall discuss about domain and grid points and number 2 vertical coordinates which are used in NWP. A domain or the forecast domain is the portion of atmosphere where we wish to forecast the future atmospheric conditions. In other words, a domain is a region on Earth, horizontal and vertical coordinates covered by a bounding box of latitude, longitude and height, where numerical weather prediction uses its initial and boundary conditions. In this figure, you can see that a bounding box with the blue color, which is a larger domain, there we can use the 7 equation in the numerical weather prediction model to solve. However, if the area of interest is for a particular smaller region, you can see a smaller domain inside the larger domain. The larger domain is called the parent domain and the smaller one inside the domain, it is called a nested domain. The smaller domain is usually called the nested domain. So two types of domains are there. One is called parent domain, from where all the synoptic conditions will be transferred to the smaller domain, but in the smaller domain the resolutions of the domain will be higher. Now, what is the purpose of the smaller domain we will discuss in the grid points. A three-dimensional structure of the Earth covering different grids is shown in the figure. You can see the heightened grids are the sum of some boxes, cubic boxes, each boxes representing the length of longitude, latitude and height. So three sides will be using in a particular grids: latitude, longitude and height. So small part of the domain, which is unit cube box in a domain, for each grid box the model equation or partial differential equations will be solved. The purpose of these small points are that with respect to the domain, these boxes are very small. Suppose the domain is in 1000 km by 1000 km region. In that case, grid boxes may be around 3 km by 3 km into height, say 300 meter. So each and every box, all the informations of the atmospheric conditions will be used. So for a particular grid box, mean of the suppose temperature, humidity, those things will be used for the initial condition to solve the partial differential equations. Another main purpose of grid boxes are the discretization of the spatial distribution of any geographical location. Suppose in this figure you can see left side, it is continuous lines are there. Those are contour lines of any suppose temperature. The same contour lines, different values of temperature are discretized in separate boxes. Although both the figures showing same colors, in lower left side you can see little whiter colors and upper left side it is bluish, but each and every grid points have here different values. So this each and every grid points are representing the average temperature within the box. So within discretizing these values, it is very easier to solve the discrete partial differential equations. Here some more examples of grids are showing. In the left side figure you can see figure A shows first the coarser resolutions one are the parent domain, where each and every boxes are showing one grid, and at the same time inside some dense lines are there, dense boxes are there, where it is showing the smaller grids in the nested domain. That means if the domain size is smaller, usually the grid size will also be smaller, so that it is like a resolution. So if the grid boxes are smaller, resolution will be high, and we can have more higher resolution geographical points where all the information will be more high resolution, like temperature, pressure, etc. In the right side figure, you can see how it looks like a grid box. It is like a cubic box. Inside some points and clouds are observed. So in a grid box, these cloud particles, aerosol particles are there. Another point to be remembered that here each and every grid are considered as a point. The outside figure B, you can see the outside points are coarser with more space inside, but in the inside figure inside points are more dense. So each and every grid points are assumed to be a point. So for each and every point some values will be there, and those values will be utilized to solve those equations, and finally that output will be given in the same points. Small size grid cells are called fine resolution or high resolution, and give the high resolution forecast, and large size cells give a coarse resolution or low resolution forecasts. Finer resolution requires more grid cells to span your forecast domain. Each cell requires a certain number of numerical calculations to make the forecast. Thus, more cells require more total calculations. Hence, finer resolution forecasts take longer time to compute, but often give more accurate forecasts. Thus, your choice of domain and grid size is a compromise between forecast timeliness and accuracy, okay, based on the computer power available. As computer power has improved over the last few decades, so we have weather forecast resolution, high resolution and high skills nowadays. Here is another example of domain and grids. The first figure above, figure A shows the atmosphere is considered in a number of grid points. There inside shaded area is a grid, and the same grid is showing in details in the later figures. Now the second topic, we will discuss about the vertical coordinates. So as the grid boxes are three-dimensional in structure, so vertically there is a problem to fix a coordinate system. So height in the different systems we have used in NWP weather prediction model, the problem with the height has to be solved with different height coordinates that we will discuss one by one. A model's vertical structure is as important as the horizontal structure and model type. To present the vertical structure of the atmosphere properly requires selection of suitable vertical coordinate and sufficient vertical resolution. Unlike the horizontal structure of model, where discrete or continuous grid point or spectral configurations can be used, virtually all operational models use discrete vertical structure, such as they produce forecast for the average over an atmospheric layer between the vertical coordinate surfaces, not on the surfaces themselves. So here's the list of mainly 5 type of vertical coordinates we deal with. One is pressure coordinate, sigma coordinate, eta coordinate system, isentropic vertical coordinate and hybrid vertical coordinate. So first we will discuss about the pressure and sigma vertical coordinate. In this figure you can see a dark gray area which is a hilly region. So this is the surface. Vertically you can observe two type of coordinate systems are there. Left side it is showing the pressure coordinate around 1000 hectopascal, 900 hectopascal, 800 and so on. Right side you can see sigma equals to 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. the pressure coordinates are just horizontal straight lines, whereas the sigmas are bent with the surface. There is the advantage of the sigma coordinate, because to consider a hill region, if we consider the pressure levels that will go below the surface, so there is no existence in the atmospheric model the negative value of the surface. That's why the introduction of the sigma coordinate. The sigma can be calculated as P by PS, where P is the pressure of each atmospheric level and PS is the surface pressure. Okay, so sigma equals to P by PS. That's why one advantage of sigma coordinate system. The equation of motion have their simplest form in the pressure coordinates. Unfortunately, pressure coordinate system are not particularly suited for solving the forecast equation, because like height surfaces, they can intersect mountains and consequently disappear over the parts of a forecast domain. So to deal with this problem, Phillips in 1957 developed a terrain following coordinates called the sigma coordinate system. Now I shall discuss about the eta vertical coordinate system. The eta coordinate was created in the early 1980s in the effort of reduce the error occurred in the calculating the pressure gradient force using sigma coordinate models. So in the eta coordinate systems, in fact another form of sigma coordinate system, but uses mean sea level pressure instead of the surface pressure as a bottom reference level. So this eta can be defined as, by the equation you can see, eta s equals to PR zs minus pt by divided by PR z equals to 0 minus pt, where z equals to 0 is the mean sea level, the pressure at the mean sea level. So with this equation, eta is calculated and eta lies between 0 to 1 always. Again, the eta coordinate system allows the bottom atmospheric layer of the model to be represented within each grid box as a flat step, rather sloping like sigma in steep terrain. That means in sigma coordinate system, that very steep terrains are cut down. That means some informations are gone missing. But instead, in the eta coordinate system, each and every grid boxes are calculated. Of course, if the grid boxes are in higher resolution, more high quality shape will be coming out. So one advantage of eta coordinate over the sigma coordinate is this one. Next, we are coming for the isentropic vertical coordinate. Isentropic means where the potential temperature are constant. That surfaces are called isentropic surfaces. So potential temperature can also be used as a vertical coordinate. In this vertical coordinate, potential temperature is used and it is called isentropic vertical coordinate system. This coordinate system sometimes called theta coordinate systems, which allows for more vertical resolution in the vicinity of baroclinic region such as fronts and near the tropopause. For adiabatic motion, air flows being constant theta surfaces and implicitly includes both horizontal and vertical displacement. Vertical motion through isentropic surface is caused almost exclusively by diabatic heating. The vertical component of isotropic forecast equation is related entirely to the diabatic processes. So some advantages are there, also some disadvantages of isentropic coordinates are there, because these isotropic surfaces intersect in ground also. Isentropic coordinates may not exhibit monotonic behavior with height, especially in the boundary layer. Vertical resolution in nearly adiabatic layers is coarse, that is not as very fine like sigma and eta coordinate systems. So as of now, we have seen different coordinate systems which has its own advantages and disadvantages. So another type of coordinate systems is called hybrid vertical coordinate systems, which use different hybrid combinations like hybrid isentropic sigma vertical coordinates, hybrid sigma pressure coordinate, hybrid isentropic sigma coordinate, like this, which will represent better way. Suppose one will give more high resolution, another will give your other information like terrain height more clearly. Hybrid isotropic sigma coordinates models have a combination of sigma layers at the bottom that shift to the isentropic layers above. Okay, like this type of examples is used in the isentropic coordinate system. So you can see in the figure together hybrid isotropic sigma coordinates are observed here. So two type of thing, one is in the lower atmosphere terrain height can be represented better way, another is potential temperature can be used in the isentropic layers.